Hello, hello. Hello, welcome. I'm just going to sit for a minute here before we get underway. I like to call this part of the evening, it's like we're welcoming you through the virtual doors to find your virtual seat. So as viewers come in, we're just going to get started with, I want to say festivities, but it's not quite festivities, with the information session. So my name is Lucas Mancini. I'm an assistant registrar for Dalhousie University, of course. And I'm going to start by first acknowledging that Dalhousie is located on Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people, and we are all treaty people. Today is the Faculty of Architecture and Planning's Register on Track session. And I'm joined by Catherine Robinson, a student success advisor from the Bissett Student Success Center, and she's going to be running the show this evening. So without further ado, take it away, Catherine.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I am just going to share my screen. And we should be good to start. Okay, so welcome to Register on Track for the Bachelor of Community Design program. As I said, my name is Catherine. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm excited to welcome you here today into the program. We're going to be walking you through registration and hopefully answer some of your questions. So just a little about me. I'm a student success advisor at the Bissett Student Success Center. I'm actually also a Dow alum, so I graduated from Dow with a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry and a minor in Psychology, and I'm a keen gardener. I started this year, and so just a fun fact about me, I'm really enjoying that. And it's absolutely lovely to meet you all. So first, the Bissett Student Success Center. So this is where I work. It's a center on campus. It's in the Student Union building. And I just wanted to highlight some of the things that we provide for community design students. So we do have career counseling, and they can assist you in making educational and career decisions. We have career advising who can help with career exploration and figuring out what you can do with your degree. We have peer advisors who can help review career documents, resumes, cover letters, help with the job search. And then we have Studying for Success, which is a big support, and it helps work with students to develop their study skills through workshops and one-on-one personal study skills coaching. So they offer workshops, and they can coach on really a range of topics such as strategies for multiple choice exams, time management, how to study effectively. They also run tutoring out of Studying for Success as well. So that's just a little bit about the Bissett. And the other kind of support we have here is your faculty advisors. So on us today, we have the School of Planning undergraduate advisor, Kate Thompson. Kate, if you just want to kind of give a wave. Yep, there she is. So Kate is your faculty advisor, and really the support on the academic side for you. And then just at the bottom, we have the planning email. So if you have any questions about how to pick your classes, how to make a schedule at the end of this, that's a great email to reach out to, and Kate or someone on that team will help you. So before we get kind of into the details of kind of how to register, I just want to say welcome again to Dow, and we have a message from my office to you. So there we all are, that's our team. And yeah, so when you're thinking about Dow, we just have a few questions for you to kind of think and reflect on, and even share with an advisor when you meet with one. So the first one is, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to in coming to Dow? What kind of drew you to Dow? What are the challenges you're anticipating? And we're able to help support that. We have a wide range of supports, and we're going to go over a few at the end. And then how can you plan to have the best Dow experience? There are so many different ways to get involved. And so what is going to help make you have that best experience here at Dow? Now, not only are you joining Dow, but you're also joining the Faculty of Architecture and Planning. So I'm going to pass it over to the Dean of Architecture and Planning just to say a few words and welcome you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Graham, if you'd like to go ahead.
Wonderful, Catherine. And I'm going to try to share my screen if we can. I'll just give me 1 second. So hopefully you're able to see that, Catherine, and I'll put it on full presentation. That works? Wonderful. Well, good evening, and thank you to my colleagues for hosting this wonderful event, and to many of you for choosing and considering Dalhousie and considering the Faculty of Architecture and Planning in your educational future. So as Catherine mentioned, my name is Graham Gagnon. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Architecture and Planning, and I just have a few short words of welcome. First, and most importantly, when I think about our school and the choice that you're making in by taking entering into the School of Planning, into the Bachelor of Community Design, you know, community design and planning is urgently needed across our country and globally as cities emerge and change for a variety of pressures, be it in Canada and pressures related to housing or climate change. So the picture beside me is Canada's second fastest city, which is Halifax, where Dalhousie is located. And more importantly, I've highlighted in a green box Sexton campus, where you will be doing most of your studies. So you'll study right downtown in an urban environment, really feel the vibrancy of what you will be studying, which is planning and thinking about cities and communities, and as well surrounded by a beautiful ocean to remind you of other pressures that we face related to climate change and thinking about how as cities and communities grow in our relationship within the planet and particularly within the coastal environment. You know, our faculty is the Faculty of Architecture and Planning. We offer a variety of professional degrees. The Bachelor of Community Design, which you'll be studying, is an accredited program that leads to a professional program in planning. Professional planners are urgently needed in Canada as we bring in more newcomers to Canada. The needs to grow our cities and grow our communities and plan them in appropriate ways and plan them in many facets, whether it's inclusivity, accessibility, transit, urban design. There's many aspects that planners will find themselves in. On the architecture side, of course, we have professional programs as well, leading to a Master's of Architecture, which is the signature professional degree in the School of Architecture. And as I mentioned, just to highlight a few key projects and activities that go on in our School of Planning that is truly exciting. We have a national recognized lab that is working to understand climate change from the standpoint of transit. As we move to electric vehicles, greenhouse gas emissions will hopefully be reduced in Canada. And we have leading researchers and, not surprisingly, leading students that are finding our way through modeling transit systems, modeling our decline in greenhouse gas emissions and alternate public transit and active transportation systems. And that is happening in our School of Planning. We also have active research related to inclusive design, social justice, and related to how communities respond to aspects related to housing and the built environment. Particularly with inclusive design, you know, this is an enormous challenge of ensuring that everyone in our community has access to the wonderful public facilities that exist in our community in Halifax, and I'm sure in your community as well. And the built environment, you'll hear this word quite a bit, both from planning side and an architecture side, and really imagining the shape and impact that we have in the communities that we live in and the structures that we imagine our futures to be in. And to speak of that right now, today was an exciting day in our faculty. The school researchers in the School of Planning and the School of Architecture combine their resources to think about net zero designs. We know we live in a housing crisis, but we also live in a climate crisis. buildings occupy actually, in Nova Scotia, the third largest emission of greenhouse gas emissions behind transit. So thinking about new buildings, new materials, and sustainable materials that will require less carbon and be fit in our community design are really interesting wrinkles for our faculty to really think about, and for our students to imagine as they become professionals in this very exciting future. So I don't want to take up much time as a dean. I am absolutely thrilled that you've considered Dalhousie, that you've considered our program, and that you've considered the bachelor program in community design. My colleague Kate is a brilliant person who has helped many students find successful careers in planning. And right now, I'm very proud to tell you that from a co-op standpoint, in our co-op program, we have about 2 jobs for every student. The need for planners is immense in all facets of development and design. So I thank you again very much. Walalan, merci. And I'll hand it back to you, Catherine.
Thank you very much for such a lovely welcome, and kind of some lovely ways to get inspired about the program that you're entering into, and a little more about planning and community design. So thank you. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so we just heard a little from the faculty side, a little more about the faculty you're joining. And now I'd like to invite Joseph, a current Dow student, to talk a little about his experience being a student at Dow. So I will once again stop sharing. Oh, no, I'll keep sharing. Joseph, if you want to jump on.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. Hi, everyone. My name's Joseph. Like Catherine said, I'm a current student at Dow. I'm doing my Master of Arts in Sociology. But before that, I did my Bachelor of Arts with an honors in Sociology and a minor in Gender and Women's Studies at Dow as well. So I've been a Dow student and part of the Dow community for quite some time now. And I've been able to get involved on campus in a few different ways. So I was a volunteer interviewer for the Nova Scotia LGBT Seniors Archive, which is an archival collection stored in Dow's Killam Library. So I did some interviews for a research project they were working on. Then I've also worked a few different on-campus jobs. So I was an office assistant in the DSU Health and Dental Plan office. And now I'm working as a research assistant in the Department of Sociology and Social Anthropology. And I'm a peer advisor at the Business Student Success Center, which is why I get to speak to you all today. And a couple other things about my time at Dow. One of my favorite courses I've taken is called Drugs, Health, and Society. It's a 3rd-year sociology course, and I think it speaks to all the different topics that you can explore in your electives and how you can get a little more specific in your interests. And my advice to incoming students is to take advantage of and explore on-campus opportunities outside the classroom. So whether that's volunteering, working an on-campus job, joining a student society, or even just attending events to meet students and your fellow classmates, there's tons of ways to get involved on campus and to make the most of your time at Dow. And yeah, welcome to Dow, everybody.
Thank you very much, Joseph. And as you can see, they've really taken on their advice about being really involved all across campus in those kind of different aspects. It gives you kind of an idea of the types of things that you can get involved with alongside of your kind of educational journey as well. So we're just going to go into now a little more of those details about registration. So kind of what we're all here for, just to help prep for registration day on June 10th. So the first thing is dow.ca/registration. You can see it there in the blue. Is going to be your main source of information for really all things registration. So if you don't remember anything else from this presentation, this is the one thing to remember, to jot down, to open it up in your browser now. Anything about registration will be here, and the Register on Track videos will be posted here too. So on the page, we have links to videos about how to register, how to add classes, the important dates, the course planning worksheets, some resources. So everything is kind of going to start from this page. So as we can see where that arrow goes, and my mouse is here too, we're going to just start talking about that step 1. So before you begin. And so before you begin, there's a few things that you need to do to help kind of prepare. The first thing is paying your $200 admissions deposit. So you can do this at dal.ca/congratulations. And so this deposit is going to confirm your seat, and it actually allows you to register on registration day. So that one's super important to do ahead of time. And then the next thing is to activate your net ID and password. So you can do this at password.dal.ca. Having your net ID and password activated, it allows you to log into Dow Online, which is where you're going to register for all of your classes. You want to set up your Dalhousie email through dal.ca/email. A lot of the stuff we do over the summer and orientation will get sent over your Dal email. And so make sure during the summer you're checking it at least twice a week. And then once you become a student, I'd recommend checking it once a day or so. We then have just our important dates page. So it gives you a good idea of the things coming up throughout the school year. So when study breaks are, when exams are going to be, things like that. And then we have a new student checklist just to go through when you have a chance. So once you've kind of activated your net ID, what is your net ID? So it's a term that you're going to hear a lot. And I just want to take a minute to explain it. So you can, your net ID is the first 2 letters of your name minus the vowels followed by the numbers. You're going to activate your net ID, and your net ID it's different from your student ID. So your student ID is sometimes called your B00 number, your banner number, your BOO number, which can be found on your acceptance letter. And your banner number is how kind of staff and faculty can look you up. So if you had an appointment with Kate, for example, Kate may look you up using your banner number. Whereas your net ID is going to be the thing that helps you get to your Dal email, get you on Dal Online, help book spaces on campus. So your net ID is what's going to help you access different softwares on campus. So once we have kind of done all of those steps of step 1, we're going to go back and do step 2. So we're going to actually find our courses now. So again, that's going to be through the dal.ca/registration. And we're going to be looking at step 2. So you can see on this slide, we've opened up step 2, and they have a little info, and we're going to select that button where it says course planning worksheets. So we're going to click that, and it'll bring us to the course planning worksheets. From here, they're ordered in terms of faculty, and you can go ahead and select your faculty and then your program. Now, I'm going to just show you your course planning worksheet now, just so you kind of have an idea of what it looks like. Okay, so we're just on the regular old Google. We're going to go dal.ca/registration. Just like I walked you through, we're going to go down to step 2 and then select course planning worksheets. From here, we're going to go down and select the Faculty of Architecture and Planning and then the Bachelor of Community Design. And this brings you to your course planning worksheet. So your course planning worksheet really kind of contains all the info you need to help pick classes for the next year. So in here, oh, sorry, my computer. I don't quite know what you see, but my computer is frozen.
Right now, we're seeing the course planning worksheet, Catherine. Worst case scenario, if you need me to share something, you can send it to me on Teams, and I'm happy to share with my computer. I guess you can't do that if your computer's frozen, though.
Yeah, no, completely frozen. Okay, so
Oh, we're seeing your mouse move. You're able to move your mouse. Worst case scenario, we can have you disconnect, Catherine, and reconnect if you need to
yeah,
restart or anything like that.
okay. I think that may be best. I can't access the Zoom. You
Okay.
may have to kick me off if that's okay.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm so sorry about this. I
No,
don't.
no problem. It's listen, technical difficulties happen. So I am
I'm
going to.
back. I'm back.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
kick me
No.
off.
Okay, okay. Right
Okay.
under the wire. I was hovering over the
Whew.
button. I was getting ready to kick you. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I just needed that little bit of pressure, I guess. Okay. So this is your course planning worksheet. And so we have in this box here kind of some classes to take. So we have at the top, we have planning or plan 1001 for the fall, 1101. And then we have the choice of 3 different options. And on this side, so environmental science, architecture, sustainability, and or an elective. And then you have that writing requirement or sustainability and another elective. The winter is a similar thing. So you have those 2 planning courses. You have that choice of environmental science, architecture, sustainability, or an elective, and then that writing requirement or elective. So we can see here there's a few different asterisks linking to different things, which is explained down below in more detail. The one thing to really note is that SUST 1000 is what's called a 6 credit hour course. So the typical course is 3 credit hours. SUST 1000 is 6 credit hours, so it's going to be taking up kind of 2 slots on this sheet. And it's also going to be your writing requirement. So if you were to take SUST 1000 here, it's going to take up this slot and this slot. And that means that in your winter semester, this is going to turn into an elective because you've already completed your writing requirement. And that's explained just on that asterisk here. And then underneath, we have a little more info about electives, your writing course options, and then if you are a transfer student. So that is your course planning worksheet, and then Kate's contact info. On here, we have just some blank schedules. So they are fillable PDFs. So you can go in and create your schedule, map it out, collect all the information you need for registration day. And there's a winter one too. So it's a super great tool when trying to map out your courses. So that is the overview of the course planning worksheets. When it comes to those choices, there's no kind of good or bad option. It's just some options for you. So you can take some time to think about what you're most interested in, what you want to do. You can also see that under each, there's like some are a lecture and a tutorial, some are lectures, there's some online. So you also want to think about what type of class you want. So first, a little about a lecture, lab, and tutorial. So the lecture is going to be the main point of contact with a professor. It's often the professor presenting to a large group of students. It's less one-on-one and more large group setting. So I think this is probably what you would think of when you think of university, or what you would see in the movies, that large lecture hall, lots of students, the professor talking. Then you have a lab. This is typically run by a TA. It's more hands-on learning, and it's a smaller group of students from your kind of lecture. And then you have a tutorial. It's also typically run by a TA. It's more like discussion-based or problem solving. And again, it's that smaller group of students. So some classes will be lecture only, some maybe lab only, and some will be a combination of all 3. So when you register, you want to make sure that you're registering for all components of a class. So if there's a lecture and a tutorial, you want to make sure you've registered for the lecture and the tutorial. So the next thing to think about is when we went through that, you do have a few electives and choices. So a few things just to think about when you're going and choosing classes. What subjects interest you? What kind of learner are you? What type of learning do you want to do? And really, how do you want to structure your day? So what classes are going to fit best with your with your schedule with those required classes. So that gives you an idea of really how to find classes and plan that out. The other consideration is workload. So here at Dow, there are two terms we use, full-time and full course load. And so to be a full-time student, you need to be taking a minimum of 9 credit hours. So if the typical class is 3 credit hours, 9 credit hours would be 3 classes. And being a full-time student is required for certain things. For example, if you have a student visa, you might be required to be full-time. If you're a varsity student, if you live in residence, if you have a student loan or scholarship, you may also be required to be full-time. So something to check with if you're considering that. Whereas a full course load is 15 credit hours. So this is 5 3 credit hour classes. And this is kind of the standard first year program. This is what your course planning worksheet looks like. However, there's always wiggle room, and often school is not the only thing a student has going on, and taking 5 courses is not always possible. And that's okay. That's why there's that wiggle room. So if you're not following the course planning worksheets, you want to make sure that you're connecting with Kate, your advisor, just to check in and see how to structure your schedule. It can affect maybe graduation or moving on to the next level. So it's always good to connect with your advisor early on, and they can work with you based on your needs. Now, it was touched a little in your course planning worksheets, but transfer students. So just a quick note in case we have any tonight or watching the recording, just make sure to apply to your transfer credits from your previous institution as soon as possible. Registration is actually open right now for transfer students. So you're kind of good to go with registration. You don't have to wait for transfer credits to be approved to register, but your transfer credits may be a prerequisite. So you may need to have your transfer credits before you can register in a higher level course. If that is the case, you can reach out to the email explaining that it's in the process of being improved, or just wait for those transfer credits to come in. Again, if you are a transfer student, connect with your advisor to create a schedule together to help with that course selection. And just something good, the New to Dow orientation is open to transfer students too. It's a great way to get to know campus and a great way to get to know your peers. So now we have hopefully done those before steps. We've paid the deposit, we've set up our net ID, we've found our classes, we have an idea of what we want to do, and we're going to go ahead and create that schedule. So there are some things to consider when you're creating a schedule. So when choosing your courses, you want to maybe think, okay, what time of day do I learn best? Do I want to have my classes back to back? Now, some of your classes will be on Sexton campus and some will likely be on Studley campus. Generally, having back-to-back classes on the same campus is not a problem. If you're going to be having classes on Studley to Sexton or vice versa, one after each other, you would want to leave about 30 minutes or more between your classes just to make sure you have time to get between the campuses. Some other questions is, do I have time for breaks? What am I doing for lunch and dinner? Do I have access to a quiet space and time to focus on class? And then that last piece of, do I have the CRNs for lecture, lab, and tutorial, which we can go into a little detail next. So you've thought of these. The next thing is finding the classes on the timetable, seeing how they're represented, what they're looking like. So the academic timetable, and you can find that at dal.ca/timetable, but it's also linked on the registration page as well. And the timetable holds really all of the logistical information about the course. For example, the day, time, location, type of class, and all of this info is available now. So we have a few little snapshots from the timetable itself that I'm just going to walk you through. So when you go to the timetable, the first thing will come up is the terms. So you're going to select for that fall and winter term because you'll be registering for both classes. So it's always nice to see what's being offered. You can select the location. So depending where you're going to be, you can select those options, and then you're going to type in your subject. For this example, I typed in planning, and you're going to press enter, and it'll bring you up with all of the planning courses offered at Dow. So this is kind of what it's going to look like once you've pressed select. You're going to see a list of courses. The first thing we have here, it's not circled, but this is the course title. So this class is Plan 1001, Introduction to Planning. If we click this arrow here, it'll bring us to a description of the course. In red here, we have what's called the CRN. So the CRN is kind of the unique number that identifies a particular part of the course. Each one has its own unique CRN. So when you're going to register, you're going to be registering using the CRNs. So if you're going to take this class, you'll want to collect the CRNs. Then we have those credit hours. So here we have the number of credit hours listed, and we can see this class is 3 credit hours. The next thing we have is the days. So we have what days the classes are offered. In this case, this class is offered on Friday. And down here we have this class that's offered on Wednesday and the tutorial that's offered on Thursday. Thursday is represented as an R in the timetable, but this class is on Thursday. Then we have the time, so it is in military time, and this class is from 8:30 to 11:30. And this tutorial is from, it looks like 4:30 to 5:30. We have the location, so we have here the campus, and then the building. And this here we have the enrollment info. This first is the maximum number of students in a class, the current number of students, the number of seats available, the number of students on the wait list, and the percentage it is full. And then we have the instructor over here. This little section right over to the left, sorry, I've gone back. There may be sometimes what's an R or an S notation and just in this notes section. So if there is, you can go ahead and click on that. And what that means is that class may be restricted. So if you click on that, it may be restricted, or it may need special permission to be able to take that. So once you click on that, it would bring you to something like this that'll let you know who it's restricted for. This is not the same example, but I just wanted to show you what that would look like. Now, the other thing is, so this class has a lecture and then it has a tutorial. So like we said before, when you're registering, you want the lecture and the tutorial. And the kind of easy way to know is you want to register, you want to have a CRN of each color. So when you're going here, you'll get this a CRN of the lecture, then a CRN of the tutorial, and then you're good to go. And you can pick the time that you want for your tutorial. At the bottom here, this is the color that the lab would be, and it would say lab. So if you did have a lab for a class, that's what it would look like at the bottom. So that's how to use the timetable. You can also use it, so if you don't maybe know what subject, you're trying to look for an elective, trying to think about things, you press the arrow here, the kind of drop down menu, it'll show you all of the subjects available. So it's a good way to kind of browse and see what your options are as well. So if we go and kind of click this arrow, as I said, it will bring you to a description. And so the description may look something like this. Obviously, this isn't the planning class, but we just have a few examples on the screen. And so we have the title of the class, the course code, the credit hours, a nice description of it, the format, and then we have what's called a cross listing. So sometimes a course is offered kind of out of more than one department. And you can't take courses with the same cross listings. So you're not going to get credit for taking it because they're the same course, but they're just out of different departments. So if the class is full, you could go ahead and register for one of those cross listings instead. It's the same class, same instructor, but it's just under a different department. On the other side, we have a prerequisite. So prerequisite are courses or requirements you must satisfy before you can take this course. So in higher level courses, you'll often see a prerequisite being a lower level course offered at Dow. We also have exclusions. So that's this bottom one in purple. And exclusions have been determined that these classes, so like Math 1215, is too similar to Math 1000 to be able to get credit for both. So you can only really take one, and only one's going to count towards your degree, even though they have different course code numbers. What's not shown on the screen, but is another thing, is a co-requisite. And a co-requisite is courses that must be taken at the same time. So that kind of brings you, so once you look at that description, it gives you a little more of that information about the specific course. It's also super useful when you're trying to decide between courses. It's really nice to go ahead and read that description and see which one stands out to you. When you're looking at courses, you may find that some are online. So we do offer some online courses, and there are two types of online courses. So you have synchronous and asynchronous, and combination. So the synchronous are courses that require you to join a class online at a specific day, time every week. Those courses are delivered synchronously and are scheduled in Atlantic Daylight Time, and they'll show what time on the timetable. Asynchronous courses do not require you to be online at any specific day or time. And then a combination, so these are classes that will be delivered asynchronously and synchronously. And so it may require you to join the class at a specific day and time, but not all of the time. So it's really personal preference what, if you want to do an online course and what type to take. Asynchronous typically requires more discipline and time management skills because there's no kind of set time that you have to join. I just have some examples you can see there. It says online and synchronous and asynchronous. And then this example where it's that combination. So you have the online asynchronous, but on September 10th, October 8th, November 5th, and December 3rd, you are going to have to be online synchronously at those times. So you've selected your classes, you found them on the timetable, you can pop them into that blank schedule, that fillable PDF. And so you can plot them out to see where they're going to overlap, see if there's any back-to-back ones. And at the bottom, you have a place to be able to put in all of those CRNs too. So this is really going to help make you as efficient as possible come June 10th. Now, sometimes classes do fill. And so what are you going to do if a course fills? So the best thing is when you're planning out your courses to potentially have a backup course in mind, or a backup tutorial section that would also work. The timetable does change over the summer, so if a course is full now, it could open up later. And there's always a waitlist. So some courses have a waitlist. You can add yourself and get a spot in the course when one becomes available. You are going to complete your degree over multiple years. So if it's something doesn't work this year, so if it's an elective, take the course maybe another year. If these are required courses that are full, contact Kate, contact an advisor just to see what to do if it's going to be like a required course. And bear in mind that even though registration opens on June 10th, things do change. And so you can change your courses, you can move things around after that as well. Next, and this is something you can do now. So once you've activated your Net ID, you can log into Dow Online and check your registration status. This is a good way to make sure you've got everything, you're ready to go for June 10th. So you would do this by going to Dow Online at dowonline.dow.ca, and you're gonna log in and then go Web for Students. You'll then select registration and then prepare for registration. You're gonna select the full term and press continue. And you should see those nice 3 green check marks. And the bottom one is just saying that you're not able to register yet because you're going to register on June 10th at 12. So that's what you should see ahead of time, and you can actually go ahead and do that at any point before June 10th. Now, we got to register for those classes. So on June 10th, you will have all those CRNs, you'll be good to go, and we'll be ready to register. So before we register, that ID has to be activated. We've got the password. You've checked your registration status on Dow Online. You've created a schedule that works for you using the academic timetable and that fillable PDF, and you have all of those CRNs ready to go. Once you've got those, you're going to go ahead and register for classes. So you're going to go back to Dell Online, you're going to log back in, you're going to go Web for Students, you're going to click registration. This time you're going to select register for classes. You're going to select the full term and press continue. Bring you to this lovely page, and you are going to go right to that enter CRNs. So don't use the class search, the kind of find class function. It's not a great function. And you've already used the timetable to find the courses, to find those CRNs. So you're going to go right to that enter CRN. And this is where all of those numbers are super useful. So in that one, you're going to enter the CRN in that box. You're going to press number 2, add another CRN. And you're going to keep adding them until you've added all of your CRNs for the full semester. Once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and click number 3, add to summary. Once you've done that, what will happen in the bottom right corner is that you will see the summary section. And so they'll all say pending along the side and then web registered as the action. If they look good to you, you're going to press submit. And at that point, they should all turn, the pending should turn green, and it'll say registered and you're good to go. At the bottom where it says total hours, next to registered, it'll let you know how many credit hours you've registered in, and we just have that max 15 credit hours. Sometimes, as we can see from this picture, it looks like there was an error that came up, and that does happen. But there are definitely things we can do. So these are kind of the common errors that come up. So the first one is that the waitlist is full. So if the waitlist is full, if it's an elective, it means that you may have to take this course next year. If it's non-elective, it means that maybe you reach out to Kate and figure out what to do next. If the class is waitlisted, you can join the waitlist. And this error, the second error, actually says that you're going to be 18 on the waitlist. So you know exactly what place you're going to be, and you can join the waitlist. And then the bottom one is just letting you know that you're missing a prerequisite. So you can go ahead and look at the description to see what you're missing. Now, if you do add yourself to a waitlist, this is what you would do. So instead of where it says web registered under action, you would go ahead and select waitlisted, and then you're going to press submit. It'll turn green, your status will be waitlisted, and what will happen is under that prepare for registration page, it'll give you a message to let you know that you have permission to register. And so it's your responsibility to keep checking that page to see if you're off the waitlist and you can join the class. Once you've got all that, you've got all those greens, you're good to go. In the left, you're going to check your schedule. And so hopefully this will look exactly like your fillable PDF, that blank schedule. It'll match perfectly, but it gives you a chance to look to see if there's any conflicts. So just from this picture, it looks like that German for beginners, it has a conflict with differential and integral calc. So you can go ahead, check to see what's happening, check back with the timetable. If you're not sure, you can check with an advisor and just go through your courses and make sure you didn't make any mistakes. Sometimes a lecture, a lab, and a tutorial, they offer different times. So you can see if maybe there's an alternative time you could register that would avoid the conflict. Now, once you've done all of this, you're going to go ahead and do the same thing for winter. So you're going to go back, you're going to select that term, you're going to change it to winter, and then add all of the winter CRNs. So one way to help is that your fall CRNs start with a 1 and your winter CRNs start with a 2. So you really want to make sure when you register on June 10th that you register for both semesters. You can always change this, it's not set in stone, but it's important to register and register for both semesters as soon as you can. And if you need more support, if you want to go over this in more detail, on that prepare for registration page, you can see highlighted that help button, and they have like 1, 2, 3 minute videos outlining all of these things. So how to check your registration status, add courses, change your courses, join the waitlist, any of those. And all of those videos are available to watch now. So you can watch them before June 10th if you would like as well. So that is how to register. I hope that helped and made sense. And you do have some time to really go through some of this material leading up to it. Just make sure you've planned everything out, you've done all the steps. And now we're just going to talk a little about supports for success. So there are a lot of supports, as I said, available at Dow, and we're just going to touch upon a few. And all of these supports, the people, staff, faculty are all here to support you throughout your degree. And so reach out for help. So first is financial services. So university can be expensive, and so financial services can help with scholarship and bursary funding, creating a budget for university funding and expenses, access temporary loans for emergency situations, connect with on-campus and community services to assist you with money problems. And so that email is right there. The Student Accessibility Center. So maybe you had an IEP or you've been out of school for a while and you have learning disability or some accessibility needs. Accessibility is the place to support you. So they can help you gain access to assistive technology, exam accommodations, speak to an advisor to create an accessibility plan to ensure all of your accessibility needs are met. They can assist you in accessing disability-related funding and connect you with campus on and off campus resources. Now, if you know this is something that you're going to want to connect with once you start, you can actually start this process with them now. So you can meet them in the summer so that you're all set up when we start in September. Next is studying for success. So I talked a bit about it at the start, but they offer those workshops and study skills like concentration, time management, the one-on-one study coaching, and they help connect you with tutors as well. We have the International Center, which is a fantastic resource and community hub for international students and exchange students. There are advisors who can talk to you about student visas, study permits, study abroad, and exchange opportunities. They run a ton of fun events throughout the year, so I definitely encourage you to check them out. We have the Black Student Advising Center. So here you can access support services like advising, advocacy, and mentorship. Often other resources will come host office hours in these centers. So the Black Student Advising Center, the International Center, and the Indigenous Student Center. At the Black Student Advising Center, you can get connected with student societies and community groups and attend workshops, student and community events and workshops. Next, we have the Indigenous Student Center. So you can connect with advisors who can provide more support and advocacy for the Dalhousie Indigenous students, engage in different Indigenous cultural activities, and attend information sessions about Indigenous education and networking. We have a 2S LGBTQ+ advisor. And so you can access support services like advising, advocacy, and mentorship for 2S LGBTQ+ students. The advisor can help you access and referrals to gender affirming care and support around name or gender marker changes at Dow or provincially, get connected with student societies and community groups, and help you navigate services at Dow. We have the bookstore. So the bookstore has this super handy list of all of the course materials, all of the textbooks that you need for the classes that you're in. So you go ahead, consult that list. They're available to purchase at the bookstore. You can also buy fun things like sweaters and mugs and the Dow gear. You can get dorm and living essentials and pick up your school supplies there. We also have the Student Health and Wellness Center. So you can have medical appointments with doctors and nurses. We have same-day counseling. We have social workers. You can get your flu shots, prescriptions, medical testing. So that's right here on campus. You have access to that. And those appointments can be booked online and by phone. So these slides will be sent to you, but if you're looking for services for students, if you go to any Dow webpage, you go right up to the top in that gray bar, select current students, it's going to bring you to this handy page where all of them are listed. So that's always a great way to check back. We have the Dow Mobile App. So the Dow Mobile App is a chance to meet your classmates, ask questions, connect to campus, It also useful things like snow days or orientation things that are coming up. So you can go ahead and get this and join it now if you're interested. You can just get it off any app store. And then us. So we do have an Instagram. So it's at Dow BSSC. We have Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And our handle is the same for all of them. And so we post a lot of career advice, information about upcoming study skills workshops, career workshops, and letting you know about upcoming fun events. So we do have a contest happening right now if you want to go over on our Instagram and check that out. And yeah, feel free to give us a follow. Now, Together at Dow is a free mentorship program. So it pairs first-year students with upper-year students who provide advice and guidance on how to navigate student life, university support services. And Together at Dow, students also have access to a designated academic advisor through a program called Stay on Track. And so Stay on Track helps students with in-depth degree, career, and study skills planning. And if you're interested in this, you can sign up at dow.ca/together. And we just have a little welcome video from their designated academic advisor of the program, Tara, who's absolutely lovely. So I'm just going to play that now.
Catherine, I'm not sure if we're getting audio from that.
Okay, great. Here, can I stop sharing and share again? Okay, round 2.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, it's working now. Perfect.
Dalhousie. My name is Tara Duncan, and I'm the designated advisor for the Together at Dow program. I run a program called Stay on Track that starts in September and runs until April. This program allows students to explore their strengths and interests in relation to the different degree and career options available to them, and to develop success plans to work meaningfully toward the degree and career plan that works best for them. If this is something that's of interest to you, you can visit dow.ca/together to register for the Together at Dow program. I look forward to seeing you in the fall, and I hope you have a wonderful summer.
That's just a quick message from Tara about the Together at Dow program. So that's kind of a snapshot of some of the resources we offer here at Dow. And so everyone is here to support you. So if you need help, reach out. There are a lot of great ways to get connected and support's available. We have just kind of the important dates and reminders. Registration opens June 10th. It starts at 12 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Time. So this is a Saturday. The deposit payment, so that $200 deposit that I've been talking about, can take up to 48 hours to process. So that's why it's super important to get that done ahead of time. Same with activating your Net ID and password, because you can't log into Dow Online, access your email, any of those things without activating your Net ID and creating a password first. Now, on that Saturday, the Registrars Office is open. So they're available from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Time. And they're here to help if you have any errors on registration day. They're not going to be able to help with kind of course planning or selection, so it's important you do that ahead of time, but they're here to help answer kind of your questions and troubleshoot registration errors. The Registrar's Office also includes many different offices. So that includes admissions, who you've already had, I'm guessing, a lot of contact with, the awards and financial aid team we talked about earlier, and transfer credits. So they do include a lot of other things as well. So the next steps, so dow.ca/new students. This has the checklist. We have some helpful tips. Orientation info will be posted here. There's a little section for your friends and family and a virtual tour. So please reach out, stay in touch, get connected, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the fall. And yeah, there's going to be a survey sent around. So if you want to fill that out, that would be great. And if anyone has any questions, we're here to help answer. And yeah.
Yeah, I'll get this, so if you're looking to ask a question, we have a Q&A tab. Don't ask them in the chat. There's a Q&A tab in the lower left part of the screen, and I'll get this survey copied into the chat right now.
Thank you. And I will be sending out the slides, and the presentation is recorded, so that will be posted as well.
So the survey should be in the chat for everyone. If you could fill that out, that does that's very helpful to us. And yeah, we have some minutes left here in the presentation. So keep in mind, we have a whole panel here, including the head of the faculty to answer questions. So please feel free to drop a question in the question and answer tab.
Yeah. I believe there is a way to do it anonymously as well. So if you would like to do that, that may be nice.
And if there are no questions, Catherine, you can give yourself a pat on the back, because it means we've answered everything. We've read their minds, and we have planned for every possibility.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
I'll also add, okay.
Oh, I love this question. Is the course selection on June 10th stressful? Will it be like getting Taylor Swift tickets? Hopefully not as stressful as getting Taylor Swift tickets. And no, I think if you're prepared with the CRNs and you're good to go, it shouldn't be too stressful.
Can I just add a little bit to that?
Oh, please. Yeah.
So just because I've been around for a few of these registration days in past years, just to let people know, technical questions about registration, don't email me because I can't answer those questions. So that's when you need to take advantage of the Registrars Office for that stuff. And if you have any questions about course selection, please contact me before registration day, and you know what, for our planning courses, you will have a spot reserved. So you don't have to worry if you can't get into those classes, the first year courses. As a BCD student, you are going to get into those courses. So if you have any difficulty with that, don't panic. Or if you need my advice, you can wait till the next week. It's so it should not be stressful at all. If something doesn't work, somebody is going to be there to help you. So there was another question here. Do courses in university? Can I answer this one? Give you something?
Yes, please. So the student is just asking, they have something going on the Saturday of June 10th, and so will they be able to register on Sunday, or will the courses be full?
I can answer that. As far as the planning courses, those courses will not be full, so there's not an issue. If you're trying to take an elective course that may be a very popular one, it may be filling up. I strongly doubt it's going to be completely full, but yeah, don't worry about the planning courses.
Yeah, and for your electives, on the timetable, you can see the enrollment info, so you can check to see if it's full, but also that's maybe a good idea to have a few backup electives. So maybe some alternative electives just in case.
That's right.
So the next question is, do courses in university give you something to tell you what to expect throughout the course?
So that, I think that question is about whether the outline or the syllabus is, yeah. So once you go to the first, if you don't mind me answering, once you go to the first class, generally, much of that will be the instructor going over the outline, or we also call it the syllabus, which is really a summary of what's going to be happening in the course, what the schedule is like, what topics are going to be covered, how the evaluation works. So you do have quite a lot of insight actually after that first day into what the course is going to be like.
I'll
And
also
some,
add that when you're registering for courses, like in the academic timetable, there's also a course description, which isn't necessarily, as expansive as a syllabus, which tells you kind of exactly what the outcomes are and what you'll be doing. But you're not just going to be picking courses based off, Stats 1000. You're going to have a description of the course at least. And also, when you get that syllabus, things aren't set in stone. You have a add drop deadline. So if you get there for the first couple classes and you realize the course is simply not for you, this is especially if you're taking, electives and things that aren't for your core program, you'll be able to drop those before the add drop deadline without penalty. So it won't show up on your GPA. It won't negatively impact your record.
The next question, Kate, is I think asking about that architecture course. So is there also kind of reserved seats in the architecture course as well?
No, not for, I think they're talking about Architecture 1001. That is generally a large class. I don't think it fills up that quickly. So as far as I know, it does not fill up that quickly. So I wouldn't be in a panic about that one either. No.
Nice. And now someone asked, I wanted to change majors if I find Bachelor of Community Design isn't for me. Can I take required courses in another discipline as electives?
You're going to love BCD. So yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's sort of hard for me to give you advice on this because my job is to make sure that you are following the program for BCD. And one of the things I get worried about is when students start taking other things and it's not in a coherent program, then you might end up kind of wasting time doing that. But you do have room in your first year to take electives in other subjects so that then the BCD required courses may turn into electives in that subject that you've taken those electives in future. So there is a possibility, but it's probably best to stick with the program that you've entered rather than trying to keep your options so open that you might end up going nowhere. So that's kind of, you probably have some advice as well on that too, from a bigger Dow perspective.
Right. So obviously, I'm confident that they'll love BCD as well. But one of the benefits of Dalhousie is because we have so much academic variety within the institution, 13 different faculties, 200 different degree programs. If there's a situation where the student finds that they're enjoying their electives, maybe more than their core courses, it's as simple as reaching out to someone in my office, the Registrars Office, to possibly think about doing what's called an internal transfer in the future. And then you would be planning, like you said, planning your electives kind of around the course you're entering into, as opposed to having those kind of be a bonus on top of your BCD course. So that's a very long way of explaining. Short answer is you do have flexibility to change your mind down the line, but as Kate said, let's try out BCD first and see if that's what we want.
One thing I must say is that we actually have quite a number of our students that come in as transfer students. So they have done exactly what this student is talking about in another program, but have not heard of planning. And when they meet other people that are in our program, they really like it. And they're the ones that come in and, so we get a lot of that happening, but in the other direction.
Yes, I see a lot of that too, of students wanting to get into your program. Yeah.
So I think that is all the time we have for today. We're just at 9:04 now, and there's no more questions left in the stack. So yes, thank you so much, Kate, Joseph, and Catherine for the lovely presentation. Oh, wait, we have one more. I was gonna send us off, but why don't we get this one under the finish line?
Okay, so I can answer this question. Yes.
Yeah.
So to the BEDS, that's the undergraduate architecture program. The requirement in BEDS is for 2 years of undergraduate studies in any subject. So it doesn't have to be in our program, it could be any subject at Dow, even at another university. So you would apply in the winter of your second year in BCD if you want to go into BEDS. It's a competitive program. So, and there are also requirements for that. So you need to make sure that you reach out to the architecture advisor to make sure that in those first 2 years, as you're taking our courses, you are also taking other electives that are the requirement to be eligible to apply to architecture. So the advisor for that is Susanna Morash, and I should probably type her name in here. So this is her email. .morash@dell.ca. Yeah, so that's her email. Did that show up somewhere?
It hasn't showed up, but make sure when you're posting in the chat, you have everyone
Yes.
selected. Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
see. I see you've responded to the question with the email.
Oh, perfect.
yeah.
Yes, that's perfect.
I don't
Yeah,
think
okay.
we have access to the chat. It's just you, Lucas.
Okay, I see. I see. Well, the question asker received the answers. That's perfect.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a lovely rest of your evening. And if you take anything away from this presentation, know that these resources are available for you. If you have ongoing questions, if it's admission related, you can reach out to me. My email's over there. Get in touch with the Bissett Student Success Center if you're looking for academic advising. Kate, of course, is also here as well. And so we're all kind of at your beck and call, so to speak, to support you through this process. So have a lovely rest of your evening. And thank you so much for tuning in tonight.
Thank you. Welcome
Bye.
to Dow.
Yes, welcome to Dow. A round of applause for your acceptance. Thank you.